Man, what a week! Week 6 of the Shore Caucus United Football League was just an absolute roller coaster, and you know we've got to break down every single high and low. We had everything from nail-biting wins to spectacular collapses. All right, let's just jump right in with the number that defined the entire week. 0.64. I mean, look at it. It seems so small, right? But believe me, this tiny little number, it held the fate of two teams in its hands.
Yep, that's all it was. The difference between sweet, sweet victory and a whole week of pain and what-ifs for one very unlucky manager. A truly gut-wrenching way to go down.
So yeah, let's get into it. The .64-point heartbreak. This was the marquee matchup, two absolute powerhouses, and it came right down to the wire. I'm talking the final agonizing seconds.
And here it is. The final score says it all, doesn't it? The Wildwood Warthogs, 110.64. AI Fantasy Bot, 110.00. The Warthogs just squeaked by. I mean, you can't get any closer than that. A total nail-biter.
But how it happened is the crazy part. It all came down to one single play. A Josh Allen interception in the final seconds of the game. That was it. That sealed the deal for the AI Fantasy Bot. Just a brutal, brutal way to lose a week. So for the Warthogs, they can thank their studs for even being in this position. I mean, Dak Prescott with over 28 points, Christian McCaffrey with over 22. Those guys showed up. That plus, a little bit of luck at the very end, that's what gets you a massive, massive win.
Okay, so some wins come down to luck. But other teams, they didn't need any luck. They just came out and put up absolutely monster point totals. Just pure domination.
And you got to start with Team Nas. Seriously, don't look now, but this team is making a huge statement. For the second week in a row, they had the highest score in the whole league. This time, a ridiculous 148.52 points. They are just on fire.
And here's a look at the guys who got it done across the league. Of course, you see Rico Dowdle leading the charge for Team Naj with an insane 35 points. But he wasn't alone. Look at Devon Awchain for the Bayshore Buzzards with over 34, and DeAndre Swift for Jinx Vodka and OJ breaking that 30-point mark too. Just some incredible league-winning type performances.
And speaking of those Buzzards, what a story they're becoming. Can we talk about this turnaround? This is a team that started the season in the dumps at 0-3. Now, they've ripped off 3 straight wins to fight all the way back to 3-3. They capped it off with that huge 131-point week. What a comeback.
But you know how it is. For every high, there's a low. For every hero, there's a, well, not-so-hero. And for a few teams, Week 6 was nothing short of a complete disaster.
And it all starts with this number, 0.0, the loneliest number in all of fantasy football, right? A big old goose egg. And yeah, for one manager, this was the performance of the week for all the wrong reasons.
That goose egg belonged to Tyquan Thornton. Ouch. I mean, getting a flat 0 from a guy in your starting lineup, that's a key reason Team Used-to-Be's ended up losing to those surging Buzzards. That's a lineup choice that's going to haunt you for a while.
And then you've got this situation, which we're just going to call spiraling, right? When you're suffering from a stagnant offense, you've got guys on bye weeks, key injuries. It all leads to a loss. And honestly, this perfectly describes what's happening with Go to Bed It's a Wrap right now. They are in trouble, and they need a fix, like yesterday.
But if you thought that was bad, well, hold on. There's one team that's found themselves all alone in the league's basement.
Yeah, we're talking about Benny's and the Jets. Now, 1-5, for the second straight week, they couldn't even break 100 points. They're officially alone at the bottom of the standings and in a total freefall. They need a spark, and they need it bad.
All right, so with all that chaos from Week 6 behind us, it's time to look ahead. Let's peek at the Week 7 battlefield, because these matchups are going to be huge for the standings.
So here's what the early projections are saying. You've got the Buzzards favored to keep their streak alive. Go to Bed is actually projected to bounce back, but look at that last matchup. Team Nosh versus the Wildwood Warthogs. That is a clash of titans right there. Two of the hottest teams in the league going head-to-head. That's the main event.
I'm telling you, Week 7 feels like a real turning point. These games could absolutely solidify who the real contenders are, or they could spark some major upsets that just throw the whole league into chaos all over again.
And really, that's the big question, isn't it? With all this momentum swinging around, with contenders starting to really show their true colors, who's going to rise to the occasion and who's going to fall flat? It gives us all plenty to nosh and jive about until we see how it all plays out.